Thanks so much, Uli and Josh. Pleasure to actually finally see you in person and to see everyone here at Links Singapore. I haven't been to Singapore since just before the pandemic, so it's fantastic to be back and see everyone here. At Chainalysis, I'm responsible for sort of the long-term strategy of the business, how we're making investments, what markets we're supporting, and we're super excited by the APAC region, and in particular Singapore and ASEAN. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we look at the industry more broadly, how we look at sort of the opportunities in front of us, and where we're making investments in the future. So I've been in cryptocurrency for 10 years. I started coming to these conferences in 2012 when everyone was wearing masks for a different reason. There was lots of anonymity and lots of that things going on in the world in 2012. But actually, we realized that transparency and legitimacy was really the way to actually grow the industry, and that's kind of where Chainalysis was born out of. But one of the things that I realized through this journey was that we need to understand cryptocurrency as a technology first. It's something that is going to impact all of the different industries around the world. And this is something where at the beginning of technology movements, it's sometimes impossible to believe that something is going to become ubiquitous, that it's something that's going to change the way that everyone behaves. And when you look at the adoption rates of these different technologies, you can understand why. That at the beginning of air travel, when hardly anyone was getting on a plane, it was impossible to think that there would be 200 people here flying all around the world to come to this conference. Or if you even fast forward to the internet and you think about us 5 years ago, it would be impossible to think that we would be able to run global businesses purely online on Zoom. But actually, when you think about it, the adoption of technology has accelerated, and more people actually have touched cryptocurrency in the past 10 years than people who touched the internet in the first 10 years of the internet. And so when we think about cryptocurrency, we think about going back to the internet and seeing actually that the internet made it possible for people to send information from person to person instantaneously and anywhere in the world. And this is also needs to be the case for commerce, for business, for value being transferred. And that's exactly what we believe cryptocurrencies are doing. And not just for finance, but also for art and property rights and for music and in games. This is ways that we see actually whole industries changing the business model from something that's intermediated by platforms to something that can be direct relations between creators and consumers. And so when I think about cryptocurrencies, I think about really the technology enabling the disruption of existing business models and it being a technology movement first. The thing that's more common and that people understand a little bit more is that cryptocurrencies has become a full-blown asset class. And when we think about an asset class, it's not just a token, it's actually a fully fledged financial system surrounding these tokens, surrounding the assets, that you have borrowing and lending and structured products that sit on top of cryptocurrencies. And so that's what we have seen develop, and there's obviously still room for this asset class to mature and for it to become mainstream. But we've seen sort of the growth in the industry, and we've seen the entrance actually of financial services firms. We've seen the development of regulation, all in terms of actually developing a multi-trillion-dollar asset class. And so when you look at where we're seeing things, and we see banks in the region developing, we see exchanges in APAC really building market share. And that's because we see there's a balance between the ability for people to manage risk, but also create greater financial inclusion. And so at Chainalysis, we take these two trends. We take the technology on the one hand that is changing these different industries, and we take sort of the development of an asset class, and we believe that we're well placed to help shape how people make decisions as cryptocurrency continues to touch more and more people's lives. But we believe that actually there's a role for us to play in helping people build trust in the underlying technology, and that's the thing that inhibits mainstream adoption. So we serve both sides of the market. We serve, public sector entities who are actually, helping protect citizens, help ensure our national security, helping provide the rules of the road. We also help our private sector customers who are actually developing new products and services, innovating, providing greater financial inclusion, providing new use cases. But everyone is fundamentally interested in the same information that is being transacted on the blockchain. And Chainalysis actually provides the level of insight about how and why people are using this technology. As I said, we're a very global company today. I've spent the last month actually visiting our offices around the world and seeing sort of the growth of the different markets. And we have more than 750 customers around the world. We're selling software into over 70 countries around the world. But fundamentally, everyone within that customer set is interested in the same set of information. And the information that we have is really about sort of which entities are putting transactions on the blockchain. And most of those transactions are for legitimate purposes. And it's important, though, we actually identify the underlying risks that are also associated with it. So we also label really any reason that someone is putting transactions in the blockchain. And we believe by providing all of this information to the industry, we can help grow it. The thing that speaks volumes is being able to actually crack down on illicit activity. And you'll hear sort of some of the cases that have been developed. But really, for the last 8 years, we've really been at the forefront of actually helping hold people accountable for their actions in cryptocurrency in partnership with our private sector customers and our public sector customers who have helped do some of these takedowns. And really, if you look at the types of activity that have been disrupted by our law enforcement partners, it's touched really every type of issue that there is in society. But actually, that's not the only thing that is happening in cryptocurrencies. And I want to remind people that actually, the majority of economic activity that happens in cryptocurrencies is mediated by, real financial use cases, real economic activity, and takes place in a regulated environment. And so that's where we think that there is a huge economic opportunity here for businesses, and we need to come together to continue to stamp out the illicit activity that happens. Now, obviously, the market, more generally the economy, has been suffering sort of global supply shocks, inflation in major economies, and we start to see cryptocurrencies be correlated with traditional assets, traditional tech stocks. And people ask sort of why is that the case? Why is cryptocurrencies not an inflation hedge in some sense? And the reason really is that cryptocurrencies have gone mainstream, that the people who are investing in cryptocurrencies are the same people investing in the future of technology. That this is actually sort of become a bet on the future of finance. And so the same people that are investing in technology platforms that are going to help people interact and build businesses online, the same people who believe that there's disruptive potential in cryptocurrencies. So when it comes to these cycles then, and we're now in the same sort of mode of building the future of finance, there are these stages of where there's depressed market conditions that prices aren't going up the same way that they have been going up for the last 18 months. And these are stages where companies really get built. Chainalysis was started in 2014, right in that first build part of that slide. And what that enabled us to do was build a platform for 3 years, really underpin sort of what the future was going to be, and then continue to execute when lots more entrants came in. And that's really how we see sort of this moment in time. So we're really focused on building what we see as the next wave of adoption inside cryptocurrencies. And for us, that really relates to 3 basic things. The first is that we believe in a multi-chain universe. We believe that smart contracts are going to change the way that people are able to build businesses online. And we're really focused on totally reimagining what it means to extract information and data from those from that world, and making it really simple and easy to understand. I'm really excited to have people present to you today, Storyline. We're very focused on consumer protection and making sure that all businesses have tools at their disposal to make real-time decisions. And ultimately, we believe in protecting investors and our national security and combating all the threats that exist. And we believe this is really only possible if you can actually bring together both the private industry and the public sector. And we feel like this is a unique room and a unique opportunity to build some of those bridges and to have new ways of actually developing this type of collaboration. Singapore is actually leading on a lot of the sort of information sharing between private and public sector in traditional finance. We think that this is also possible in cryptocurrency. So Singapore, for us, is our regional headquarters. We believe in sort of the future of this market. We believe that it has become a financial hub in the past for various other forms of finance and technology innovation. And we believe that there's a bright future for us here. We're super excited to also partner with GIC as our latest investment partner to continue to build in the region. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and it's great to be here. Thank you.